morning. This is WQIR 514. My name is Julie, and I'm at Atlanta 947 with this week's new user tips and operating procedures segment. This week, I am going to talk about intentional interference. Blowing into your mic, persistent kerchunking, extended dead keys, and feedback are all forms of intentional interference. Intentional because one doesn't do these things accidentally, and interference because these are not welcome things anyone on the network wants to hear. There are other forms of intentional interference, such as keying up with max power whenever someone else keys, trying to override their signal, or playing sounds, recordings, or annoying noises over the network. North Georgia GMRS Network has some tools to defend against such interference, but it takes time to collect enough evidence to have a case we can hand over to the FCC. When we hear interference, we listen for specific tells. We will compare what we hear to regular traffic, and when we have a good comparison, the investigation goes further. If the interference continues, we will make contact. If necessary, we will hand over our recordings, our logs, and our notes to the FCC. Let me break. As a member of North Georgia GMRS Network, you have a role to play when these people misbehave. First and foremost, do not give the jammer the satisfaction of his efforts. The worst thing we can do is empower that person by acknowledging his actions are having an effect. We should endeavor to continue the use of the network, and rather than say someone keyed on you, mention there was some interference. If the conversation is truly overwhelmed by interference, sign off and come back on the air later. The second thing to do is to note the date and time of the event in an email to support@ngmrs.org, and we will log the event. Include as much information as you can. We can pull the tapes and review these events in the studio environment for careful analysis. This is how we defend our network against intentional interference, and this is how we become the best operators on the nation's largest, most advanced network in the nation. And remember, if you have any questions or suggestions for new user tips and operating procedures, send me a note at julie@ngmrs.org. We are North Georgia GMRS Network, and this is WQIR 514, Atlanta 947. Julie. Good night, everyone.